Hello yogis and welcome. So my name's Lorelai and this is Namasturm Yoga. Today we're gonna do a probably full length intermediate level yoga flow. So join me on your mat, make sure you got your yoga pants on, all of that good stuff. And let's come to an easy seated position. So if you haven't taken class with me before, I teach from home. I'm, yoga instructor. I teach in person sometimes as well, but I do like to teach on YouTube. I have a bunch of recorded classes that are already in existence on my channel. But I've just started doing these live streams on Monday nights, which is kind of just like taking a virtual class. I'm suggesting this is like a donation-based class. So if you would like to donate for the class, like $1, $2, like it doesn't have to be much. The way to do that is in the description for this video. You absolutely don't have to. This is YouTube. It is a free platform for you to share. But I'm hoping that maybe if a few of you donate, that it makes it worth me continuing at this time. Okay, with all that said, let's just go ahead and get started. So easy seated position, coming to Sukhasana, hands to your knees. Stack your shoulders up over your hips so that you feel tall, long back of the neck. And then just close your eyes and come to stillness here. Breathing in and out through the nose. See if you can keep the lips together. We will move soon, I promise. But this first part of class is really just for you to transition from your day to your practice, whatever that means to you. Obviously, physically, we come to the mat, maybe we're in a different space. But there is also kind of a mental transition that we sometimes have to make where we try to let go of the day that's already happened, let go of what we still have to do, and give ourselves permission to just be practicing right now. Notice your sit bones resting on your mat, noticing your hands resting on your knees. And then finally, notice the breath as it flows in and out easily. Let's transition to a simple ujjayi practice, so a gentle narrowing of the back of your throat so that as you inhale and exhale, there's just that tiny bit of friction that gets created, which in turn creates a soft, rushing, whispering sound. And let's try to even out the rhythm of our breath alongside that. This slow, controlled breathing practice is hopefully going to be a little bit calming, but it also gives us a rhythm that we can move our bodies to. So we're going to begin from seated, hands on the knees. As you inhale, move the heart forward, maybe tilt the head back. And then as you exhale, round the back, round the shoulders, tuck your chin to your chest, and then back and forth. Kind of like a seated cat-cow. So you can think of it that way. It's just a spinal flexion and extension. And then coming back to center, let's just inhale, reach the arms up, interlace the fingers, press the palms towards the ceiling, lengthen the arms, maybe drop the chin to the chest and then lift the head and tilt the head back. If that feels good, just to work the neck a very small amount. And then releasing the right hand down to your mat, take the left arm up and over for a nice side stretch. Breathing into the left rib cage. Obviously, we are still breathing into our lungs, but doing so might sort of expand the rib cage. And then let's just switch sides for the side stretch. So left hand down, right arm up and over. And then come on back up. And let's go ahead and come to our feet. We're gonna move to a squat. So you can turn the toes out for this one, Malasana. Have the knees pointing the same direction as the toes. Elbows inside your knees. Press your palms together. And you can also, like, if maybe the legs are enough for you to concentrate on, but if you've got the space, see if you can sort of move your sternum forward towards your thumbs. And then we're gonna move simply to a forward fold. So take your fingertips to the mat, perhaps, as you straighten the legs. Now parallel the feet, but keep them about hip distance apart. Soft knees, so don't worry about the legs being completely straight here. You might even allow your belly to rest on your thighs, so the knees can be bent that much. Let your head hang, let your neck release. Let your arms dangle, and if they hit the ground, maybe grab opposite elbows so they don't. Loosen up the back of the neck by gentle nod or shake of the head. Maybe sway the torso, trying to release the spine. Now staying with that ujjayi, keep the knees bent and maybe even bend them a little more. Tuck the tail and on an inhale, start to roll all the way up to standing at the top. Reach the arms and then exhale, dive down, forward folding over the legs. Bend the knees at the bottom, inhale, come up and follow the pace of your breathing here to roll up and dive down. Warming up now the spine, the legs are getting involved a bit more too. I do like to kind of start my classes a little bit slow. I mean, moving, but moving in a way that just feels good, kind of wakes up the body parts. I work at my desk during the day, and probably a lot of you do as well. So if you've been sitting all day, to like suddenly jump into sun salutations or, you know, strong standing poses can sometimes feel a little jarring. So I feel like I need a bit of a gentle transition. Next time you come to forward fold, stay. And if you're not at the top of the mat, just kind of scooch or walk your feet up there. And then we're going to take a lunge here. So we're going to step the right foot back. So take it to the back of the mat. Keep your fingertips on the mat. Just a bit of a runner's lunge here. And give yourself permission to kind of shift. So we want the left knee over the ankle. We want that shin pretty vertical. But if you want to kind of shift a little forward and back, like moving on the ball of that back foot, sometimes that feels good to warm up the calf, warm up the foot. Keep the back of the body long, and really this is a stretch for that back leg as much as it's a lunge for the front leg. And then from here, plant the palms, and now let's take a plank. So this is obviously a strong pose, but we're gonna keep it still for a moment here and just get comfortable stabilizing through the core. Legs are long and strong, back of the neck is long. The active work is happening from the core of the body, so we don't wanna be sagging the hips, but other muscles are toned too. We are toning our arms and our legs. Keep the breath flowing smoothly. And then when you're ready to lower, I recommend taking the knees down first, so bend those, and then bend the elbows to slowly lower the heart down between the hands. Extend the arms alongside the body, and on an inhale, let's just lift up, upper and lower body. Exhale, lower down nice and soft. Inhale, come up. This movement might be small, like it's not a giant movement. Exhale, let yourself come down. When you're coming up, you're kind of imagining you're the bottom of a rocking chair, and then, you can lower all the way down flat. One more time. Inhale, up. Exhale, lower. Okay, now this time, I said one more time. We're gonna come up again, but this time we're gonna hold up. And then we're gonna shift to cobra. So see if you can keep some of the bow that's happening in the body. Hands to the mat, by the chest, push down, and let your feet come down, tops of the legs. In cobra, the hips should still be pretty much down. So we're not like hiking up the hips. We're keeping the low body rested, and the upper body, we're creating a curve to let that lift. And then, downward facing dog. We get here finally. All right, first down dog though, so give yourself some time.
Maybe bending one knee, let the opposite leg straighten, switch to the other side. Spread the fingers really wide. So I probably am going to say this a million times through the classes. So if you've taken class with me before, you know. But the hands are really the foundation of this pose. So we want to use the entire underside of the hand, and we want to use like the property of a yoga mat to let that underside of the hand grip the mat, and then we can push against it so that the hips lift up into the air, creating a really strong diagonal from hands to hips. The upper arms lift away a little bit. The shoulder blades tuck slightly on the back, but we don't want to like try to roll them in. We just kind of want to keep everything stable. And then, you know, eventually the legs might straighten, the heels might drop to the ground, but we don't want to undermine what's going on in the upper body to make that happen. All right, let's walk the feet to the top of the mat now. Coming back forward. Soft knees, let's roll up again. We'll just do that 2 more times again. Reaching the arms. Exhale, dive down. Bend the knees, roll up. And dive down. And we're back and forward fold again. We're going to do our lunge on the other leg, so left foot steps back this time. Right knee stays over the ankle, but give yourself a chance if you want, like a little shift back and forth. That back ankle, back foot, Oh, stay breathing. You can sigh if you want to, if you need to make noise. Plant the palms and step to plank. We don't need to hold as long this time, but maybe give yourself a couple strong breaths so it feels really stable. Now you can bring these down first, or if you're ready, you can bend the elbows, but try to keep them over the wrists. So in order to do that, the shoulders have to come forward, lowering all the way down in one piece to your mat. That's through Chaturanga Dandasana. We didn't really hold it. You could if you wanted to. Extend the feet and come on up Cobra, or if you're feeling more adventurous, tops of the feet here in upward facing dog. The thighs are lifting, but we're not hiking the hips up again. We're really still keeping the hips slung low, and the rounding is in the upper body. And then roll over the feet, lift the hips, exhale to downward facing dog. Okay, so like at this point now it's like, okay, we are ready for some sun A's because we've done all of the poses that are involved. So then we can start to flow them together and really feel a little bit of heat generating. On your next inhale, look forward. As you exhale, step, walk, or you could lightly hop. Top of the mat. Now feet are together. Inhale, take your half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. This is like the last piece of the puzzle. Long spine, back of the neck. Take an extra breath here. Engage through your core. Exhale, forward fold, full Uttanasana, and then root down, rise up, reverse the swan dive. Coming up with a flat back now and palms together. As if you didn't know a sun A. Now you do. Okay, let's follow the breath. Inhale, reach the arms. Exhale, dive down, Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, step to plank, and you can lower through Chaturanga Dandasana or take those knees down if you want to. Inhale, Cobra, maybe up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Hold and breathe. So obviously you are practicing on your own at home. You can do anything you want to. A couple of suggestions though that I'll offer would be if you like to take it up a notch, you could jump back instead of stepping back. I would say jump back to Chaturanga so that your arms kind of bend while your feet are floating back. You can modify or take a variation, right? So up to you. When you're ready to move on, inhale, look forward. Exhale, step, walk, or lightly hop. Half lift. Fold, Uttanasana, and then reverse swan dive. Come on up, and palms again together in front of the heart. Let's just take a few more. But follow the pace of your own breath. When you get to down dog, this is another place where you have options. You could just hold for 1 breath and move on, or you could hold for up to 5 and take a little longer in that resting pose there in the middle of the sequence. So I'll again leave that up to you. I'm gonna stop cueing so we can just flow with the breath here. So follow your breath to your next down dog, and when you get there, let yourself hold. We'll move on from down dog, but feel free to rest as long as you're here. If you ever get to down dog and it does not feel like a rest, you can drop your knees to the mat and hips to the heels for child's pose. Okay, let's take the right leg up for down dog split. Let's try to keep this one with the hips square. So the thigh faces the floor, the toes are flexed downward, nice and level with the hips. And then look forward, step forward. So the front foot all the way to the top of the mat, as far up as your hands. Toes point forward, knee over ankle. Let's take crescent pose, coming up to a high lunge. We were kind of here with the legs before, but now with the upper body up, we have to think a little bit more about balance and stability. There's a lot of strength happening in this front leg, but the back leg is strong as well. We've got it straightening out, so we're really working both legs. All right, we're gonna come to balance on the right foot. So when you're ready, kind of taking all your weight there, see if you can just spring that back leg up and bring the knee into your chest. Hang on to your shin, nice and tall, nice and upright. And then we're gonna shift to eagle pose. So you're gonna take your left leg and cross it over the right, and as you do so, start to bend the right knee. Now arms, the left leg is gonna cross under the left arm, is gonna cross under the right one. Lift the elbows. This is eagle pose. We're sinking the hips and lifting the elbows, but now let's go ahead and bow it down. So bringing the elbows towards the knees. Do your best to keep the balance here. To come out of this, we're going to move to a standing split. So when you're ready, unwind the arms, bring the fingertips to the floor, and then unwind that left leg and reach it up into the air. Fold your body to the right leg. And we're going to step the left foot back, but this time let's take warrior one. So the left toes are going to come down, but the back heel is going to go down as well and come up. Very similar to crescent, but the hips are a little more challenged to stay squared when the back heel is down. And hands to mat, take a vinyasa here. You can always skip these vinyasas if you prefer. They'll keep your body warm, they'll keep the practice a little more vigorous. But if you want to opt out, just go right to down dog instead. Okay, left leg, square hip down dog split. Thigh faces the floor. Look forward, step forward, crescent pose. You're staying on the ball of the back foot. The heel is not down for this one. Sink deeply into that front leg, but keep the back leg strong so you don't collapse with the front part of the body. Hips should not be lower than that front knee. Now, taking the weight to the left leg, pull your right knee into your chest and come to balance. Straightening your standing leg, keeping your torso upright. Moving to Garudasana, eagle pose, balancing on the left, cross that right leg over, bend the left knee as you wind the legs, and then arms out. The right arm is going to move under the left one, lift the elbows up off the chest. Now bowing down, keep everything wound, just fold in, elbows come towards knees, still keep your balance as long as you're able to. And then when you're ready, unwind the arms, fingers are gonna come to the floor, and then the right leg is gonna unwind and shoot up into the air for standing split. So before our legs were coming as close together as they could. Now they're reaching as far away from each other as possible. Standing split, and we're going to move to warrior one. So right toes come down, and then you can let the heel drop down as well. Bring the upper body up and breathe. And hands down around that front foot, step to plank. Here's your vinyasa. All right, from down dog, let's take the right leg up. This time, go ahead, open the hip and bend the knee. Point the knee to the sky, let the heel drop towards the left hip. Shoulders should stay level if possible, though. Now, knee to chest, shoulders come forward over the wrists. Hug your leg to your body. Inhale, down dog split. Exhale, right knee to right arm. Bring it up by the tricep and just hold to stabilize. Take a full breath here. Inhale, down dog split. Exhale, right knee to left arm and hold. Inhale, lift the leg. And exhale, step the right foot forward. We're going to go right to warrior one again. Inhale. And then we're going to move to warrior three. So coming to another standing balance pose on the right leg. Let the left leg now reach behind, creating that kind of capital T shape. From here, we're going to move to chair pose, Utkatasana. So top of the mat, feet together, knees bend, arms alongside the ears. Create your zigzag lightning bolt shape. And let's twist it. So bringing the left arm outside of the right leg, press the palms together and turn the torso. Standing on the right foot, now the left foot's going to step back again. We're really back to our high lunge, so on the ball of the back foot, but in a deep twist. Let the arms open. Now, keeping the twist, keeping the arms long, float up. Either arms level, or you could maybe even reach further back. Stretching behind you as you're twisting. And then we're going to take the left hand and plant it on the mat inside the right foot. From here, stack and stabilize the shoulders. We're going to go to side plank on the left. So roll to the outer edge of the left foot and then work that right foot back into place. Side plank. And turn to the mat. Here you are in plank, vinyasa. Breathe in down dog. This is a short rest here, and then we'll take the other side. On an inhale, take the left leg up. Open the hip, bend the knee. You should feel this as a little bit of a stretch for the front of the left quad. Exhale, knee to chest, shoulders move forward. Hold. Inhale, down dog split. Exhale, left knee to left arm. Hold. Lift the leg, following the pace of your own breath here. Exhale, left knee to the right arm. If you get a little ahead of me, well, this is a repeat. You know where we're going eventually. Lift the leg and then exhale, step forward. Warrior one. And warrior one's going to move to warrior three. So coming into the pose, like getting stable, we want to have a kind of a foundation. So this left leg is going to be our foundation for the balance pose, but it should feel like it's strong. Feel the weight on the underside of your left foot as you float your right leg up. Try to reach it behind you. I've got this plant right here. You can always bring palms together in front of the heart if you have an obstacle or if you just are struggling to get those arms to extend. And then top of the mat now, chair pose, Utkatasana. So feet together, knees side by side. Weight is on the heels in this pose. And then as we twist to the left, try to keep the knees together so that the hips are staying level. Really, that means the twist is happening in the torso, through the torso. Standing on the left foot, now the right one's going to shoot back. So, you know, we're repeating what we did on the first side, but just to remind, where all did we go in this sequence? This is where. Let the arms open if you can. The right arm is outside of the left leg here. And then come on up, reach the arms. You're still twisting, you're still lunging. Reach the arms, maybe reach back. All right, and then right hand is going to come down at the top of the mat with the shoulder over the wrist, left arm right up above that right one, stabilize through the collarbones, roll to the outer edge of the right foot, and then bring your left foot. You can modify, you can do the modified version here, right? Otherwise, full side plank. And turn to your mat, take a vinyasa. Breathing in the down dog. All right, let's inhale, look to the top of the mat. Exhale, step, walk, or hop the feet. Half lift. Fold, Uttanasana. Bend the knees, Utkatasana. Let's go ahead and lower for boat pose. Use your hands as opposed to falling on your butt here, but sit bones come down. If you can do it without the hands, wonderful, but everyone's body is different in that way. Lift the shins, let the arms reach out, keep the heart lifting. Yes, balance on the sit bones, right? We're not rolled to the tailbone, we're on the sit bones. See if you can find the difference here. And then feet down, chair pose, Utkatasana. And we're going to go right into vinyasa. We're going to go into a little bit of a dancing warrior sequence, but we're going to hold some of our poses as we do this just because we haven't hit them yet. And, you know, first time in a pose, I feel like holding is the thing to do. From down dog, inhale, let's just take the right leg up for a breath. Exhale, step it forward. We're coming to warrior one again. Back heel down, inhale up. Exhale, warrior two, and we shall take a few breaths here. Front heel and back arch align. So give yourself this first breath or two to kind of just, hey, oh, I gotta adjust my alignment, my foot position, or my hips, or my knee. Maybe your shoulders tend to shift forward. Try to get those shoulders to stack right above the hips. And then the arms at shoulder height. Notice if this back arm is kind of like, ooh, I don't need to be here. Yes, keep it in the picture. Look over the front fingers. And then keeping the lower body as is, reverse your warrior, stretch it up and back. And then extended side angle. So right forearm can come, just plop on the thigh, and then the top arm over. So one of the things that I see sometimes in classes when students do this is they think that they're meant to get low with the body. So they'll have their forearm on their thigh, but they'll start to kind of collapse their torso down. If you want to go lower, then hands should be coming to the floor. But if that's not possible, with the forearm on the thigh, actually lift up out of your shoulder. So this is like dynamic and engaged here. Now next inhale, reverse the warrior, and then hands to the mat, flow through vinyasa, returning to down dog. We'll do the other side. So simple sequence here, just giving ourselves a little time in these basic standing poses. Inhale the left leg up, exhale, step it forward. Inhale, warrior one, exhale to warrior two, and we'll hold. So get yourself set up, mirroring the first side the best you can. You know, poses don't have to be perfect. I am sure I am never, or almost never, like a perfect example of poses. But I think we just want to know what we're aiming for so that we're not, I would say, compromising the pose for some other agenda. Let's just put it that way. On an inhale, reverse your warrior, stretch back. And then extended side angle. So I would say the main emphasis of this pose is this diagonal along the side edge of the body. It's not about getting low to the ground. If you want to go low to the ground, you could. Like if you have a really deep lunge in that front knee, you could start to bring the hand to the floor outside the shin. But if you start to turn your agenda into getting the hand to the floor, all of a sudden the pose starts to look like this. And this isn't, we start to round, we stop bending the knee, like we get our hip out of whack somehow. So really we want to try to keep the point of the pose in the linear sense, right? And see how this works in our body. And if it doesn't work in our body, go ahead and bring that forearm back to the thigh. On an inhale, reverse, and then hands to the mat. Breathe in, down dog. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, step, walk, or hop the feet. Half lift. Fold Uttanasana. Bend the knees for Utkatasana. Let's do our boat pose transition once again. Use hands as needed. If you don't need them, great. Drop those sit bones, lift the feet. Keep the heart lifting up. Okay, so our next sequence, we're going to go back to chair and then vinyasa. We're going to start just the way we did the last sequence, but we'll add on this time. Get a few more flavors. Feet down, chair pose, Utkatasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha, and vinyasa. From down dog, inhale, right leg up. Exhale, step it forward. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, extended side. And let's just go right into half moon. So adding in a balance pose here. You can start with your left hand on your hip. Bring your right fingers forward and just float that back leg up. But the body is still facing the side. Push through the lifted heel. Maybe the top arm goes up so that the shoulders are stacked. Notice if you're tending to drop your left shoulder and try to compensate by bringing your left arm up, that shoulder should be in its socket. So integrate the shoulder. Even if the torso can't roll, the arm might not be straight up, but try to keep the arm and shoulder connected. They're in the same game. Okay, revolve half moon. Left fingers come down. Keep your left leg in the air. See if you can just level out the hips and then turn the torso. Right arm goes up. Okay, let's take pyramid. Keep your front leg straight if you can as you lean and step the back foot back, back heel down, and then fold over that right leg. Ideally, the hips are squared in this pose. If you're not sure what's going on, because you can't see your hips, you can bring your hand to your tailbone and just check that out. It should be flat. And then from here, we're going to lean towards the right leg a little bit, step the left foot further back on the toes and lower the back knee. Let's take a low lunge here. Extend the foot behind, bring the arms up and sink the hips forward. If it would feel good to you, absolutely interlace the fingers behind the head and widen the elbows, lift the heart. And then bringing the hands back to the mat, walk your right knee to join the left, and you can take a vinyasa here. And then we'll do the other side. So left leg, one breath per movement. Inhale the left leg up, exhale, step it forward. Starting with the dancing warrior, inhale. Exhale to warrior two. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, extended side angle. And here's where we're going to shift into our half moon pose. Maybe right hand comes to the hip as you make your way to balance. If you can, bring that right arm up, but notice the alignment. No shoulders forward, arms up, right? Try to keep the connection there. Can we just rotate to revolve warrior, or revolve half moon, I mean. Level out with the ground, with the hips, left arm up. And pyramid pose. If you can, keep the front leg straight as you let the right foot come down, right heel down, fold over the left. Use your hand if you need to. Check out the hips and tailbone. And then we're going to shift to the left so we can step the right foot further back, right knee down, and move to your low lunge on this side. And hands down, vinyasa. Breathing here. All right, let's take knees down and forearms down. We're going to set up for a dolphin pose here. So just a bit adjust things. I'm actually going to tuck myself in. So dolphin pose, forearms on the floor, elbows under shoulders. Interlace the fingers here, root down, and then tuck toes and lift knees and hips. Walk the feet in closer if you can, and head should be hanging down. Like your hair might be touching the floor, but really the head should not be resting on the ground or on anything. And then just take the right leg up, reach it, and switch to the other leg, nice and easy. Try to keep it light, keep the lift in the hips as you change, as you bring the legs down. And lower. Knees down, take them wide, hips to heels, moving into a simple child's pose for a brief moment here. Okay, so this is where I would kind of say like, hey, free-for-all inversion practice if you'd like, but I'm gonna actually work a little bit on forearm balance today, which dolphin is a good setup for. If you would prefer to do a headstand, then you could do a headstand if you're feeling safe. If you just want to stick with dolphin, absolutely, that's a great backup plan. If you want to try forearm balance, I'm actually going to work now with forearms parallel. So instead of interlacing fingers, you've got that kind of triangle. Try to parallel them with the palms on the mat and the elbows under the shoulders. Now, kind of like in down dog, we got to try to get the underside of the hand to anchor so that the hands don't start to slide in and the elbows then slide out. We ideally want to keep this parallel stance with the arms. Now, you're going to do the same thing we did for dolphin, right? So walk the feet in, take one leg up, and then if you want to take the hops, you're going to jump up off the other. Now, I do recommend doing this against a wall so you don't flip yourself over, and that's what I'm going to be doing in a moment, unless you feel pretty confident in your practice, right? So you can take that near, like take your hands up by a wall. You can also take your hands up by a wall with a block between them, so the block would fill this kind of rectangle between your hands. It goes between the first and second finger, and that's kind of a nice spacer. I'm actually going to keep myself further away from the wall because I'm trying to play with balance, and I want that gap so that maybe I can catch myself as opposed to the wall always catching me before I have a chance to find my balance. So that's kind of a place you could work if you choose to. All right, so let's just take a short time here, working on the inversion of your choice. Make sure you are being safe. I will plan not to crash down on live streaming. That's not my plan. Again, head is not on the floor in forearm balance, so if your head goes down and you find yourself in a headstand, you might want to come down and be more intentional about your plan. Okay. So take your time releasing whatever practice you're working here, and then we'll take another child's pose. If you were doing a headstand, I recommend child's pose with fists stacked, put your forehead on the fists. But if your head was never on the ground, you can just take a regular child's pose. All right, and then on the knees, let's do a quick camel here. Ustrasana, nice back bend. I'm gonna do this one with my toes tucked because I do like to reach for my heels, and at least the first one, I like the heels to be a little closer. We don't wanna widen the knees. They should be right under your hips, so they're also not right next to each other, but thighs are up and down. Hips stay over the knees, so those aren't moving back. Chin in or head back. If the hands come to the heels, great. If they don't, just keep the hands on the back. And then support your waist to come on up. Take a quick moment to either keep the toes tucked and sit back on the heels, stretching the feet. You're kind of going to stretch the bottoms of the feet and the toes, or you could extend the feet, sit back on your heels, and then lean back, lift your knees to stretch kind of the tops of the feet. One might feel more desirable or necessary at the moment. And then we'll do one more back bend if you're up for it. So either repeat what you just did, or maybe you worked with your toes tucked the first time and you're like, hey, I would like to try going a little deeper. Let me see if I can reach my heels with my feet extended. If you kept your hands on your hips, you could do either one in terms of the feet. But let's try to spend 7 or 8 breaths here. Make sure you're supporting yourself to come up, and if your head is back, that should come up last, so it's less strain on your neck. Let's drop to the left sit bone. Cross the right leg over the top, and we'll just take a seated twist. So twists are really nice after back bends, just to kind of, neutralize the spine, so they say. If your right knee is up, you're going to use your left arm around or past your knee and twist over the right shoulder. All right, and let's go the other direction. So yeah, twists are they're nice and they're reassuring. Back bends can be very stimulating to our nervous system, whereas I think twists are a little more calming and soothing. So it is a good swap. And then we can do forward folds finally after back bends. It makes sense. Those are the counter poses, back bends and then forward folds. But sometimes it's a little bit of an extreme to go all the way from a back bend to a forward fold. So these twists are sort of like an in-the-middle option. All right. Let's come out of that and let us go ahead and yes, do some forward folding here. Let's just take a simple Janu Shirshasana. So taking the right leg out, tuck the sole of the left foot in, and then facing that right leg with the muscle toned and the foot flexed. Reach the arms, inhale and exhale. Let your body lengthen out over your leg. I hope that all of your yoga practice feels good. Like, I want every part of it to feel good. But I especially appreciate these ending stretches. I feel like this is where it's like, yes, the good, relaxing, deep stretch. But I feel like we have to get here through the rest of the poses, right? Like, we need to be warm. We need to really feel like that stretch is, I don't know, has a purpose, I don't know, it's just almost, it seems like we need the journey to get here in order for the stretch to really have its significance. But then it feels so good. At least it does to me. And truly, if you are finding these stretches to be painful, back off, ease up, get to the point where it's like, you know, it might feel a little challenging and there might be a slightly uncomfortable sensation involved, but it shouldn't feel painful. You should not feel miserable as you're stretching. Okay, and then come on up and switch sides. I hope you don't feel miserable in any of the other poses either, though, because even though sometimes they're challenging and hard, they should feel like, look what my body can do, like exuberant in a way. All right, that's just me. All right, turn to face your left leg. Again, engaging the muscle of the leg, flexing the foot, and fold. So I just want to remind, if you are still with me with this practice, first of all, like, give the video a thumbs up. Please leave me a comment. You can chat into the chat box. I think my chat is up and nobody's commented anything so far. But like, let me know you're there. This is also what kind of lets the algorithm on YouTube know that people are engaged, as opposed to me just streaming into a void, which is probably what I'm doing, to be fair. But if you engage, then the algorithm is like, oh, it's not a void, somebody's actually watching. So that would be helpful. And then just a reminder, if you do feel like this class has been worth something to you and you want to donate, I take donations via Venmo or PayPal. So you can do that by just following what the description says. I mean, the easy answer is my Venmo is Namasturm, which is the name of my channel. So you can probably remember that too. All right, and then come on up. And then we're gonna go to downward facing dog again. I wanna do some hip openers, and that's the best place to get there from. So we're gonna go to down dog. If you are in the mood for another vinyasa, take it. But if at this point in your practice, you're like, you know, I'm ready for just the chill stuff, then skip the vinyasa by all means. Let's take the right leg up, open the hip and bend the knee, drop the heel to the hip, and then we're gonna glide that right knee forward, behind the right wrist, setting up for pigeon. Shin crosses the mat. Use the left toes to walk the left leg back, get on the top of that thigh. And then avoiding rocking all the weight to your right hip, let's just fold down over the right shin. You know, again, if you're watching an intermediate yoga class and you haven't encountered pigeon pose before, I don't know. That's confusing to me. You probably know exactly what you're doing here. But allow yourself to give in, and we're just gonna breathe for a little bit. Okay, take your time coming up. We're gonna move to a quad stretch. So we'll do the left leg, you know, from here. Right fingers can support, left knee bends, reach back with the left hand, move the heel into the hip. If there are variations you'd like to take here, you know, if you're working on getting more upright or trying your balance or maybe even going towards mermaid, you absolutely can. You know, it's up to you. Listen to your body. What would it like tonight? Maybe it wants to keep it simple. That's good too. Okay, let that left foot go. Bring the hands back to the mat. And when you go back to down dog, if you want to, shake out your right leg or kick through the heel. Sometimes we get a little tension in there as we stretch, just because it's a deep stretch. And let's switch legs. Left leg up, open the hip, bend the knee, pull that knee forward, and set yourself up. Take your time to really get on the top of that back thigh so you're not sitting on your foot, and you can really relax your back leg without feeling like your knee is resting solely on the ground. And then as you fold, we want to stay with the breath so you're still connected to your practice. See if you can continue with your ujjayi as you just sink into the stretch. Okie dokie, coming up. Let's stretch the right quad, mirroring our first side as best you can. And let that go. Hands to the mat. Shake out the left leg or kick through the heel. Let's do it. Okay. Walking feet to hands or hands to feet, whichever makes the most sense, or a combination of both. Let's take Padahastasana. So slide the hands under the feet one at a time until the toes meet the wrists. Wiggle the toes into the wrists, give them a little massage, let your head hang, and if your body is feeling okay with it, start to straighten the backs of the legs as well. Slowly take the hands up from underneath the feet. Bend the knees, bring the sit bones down to the ground. Let's take a Baddha Konasana. So soles of the feet together, knees wide, and let's lean in. Still a hip stretch, but like in a totally different place, like different muscles than we got before. If you'd like to gently push your knees down with your elbows, I suggest gently pushing up against your elbows with your knees. Let your arms win, but give it a little bit of resistance. And come back up. Let's come down to our back. So we're heading swiftly towards Shavasana. Bring your knees into your chest. Maybe roll them around in a little circle here, massaging your low back. Maybe go in the other direction. And then let's take the arms out and go into a supine twist. So drop your knees to the right, but turn your head to your left. And then switch directions, switch sides for the knees and head, letting them go opposite each other. All right, and then coming back up with the knees. Let's just bring the feet to the floor, a little away from the hips. Take the feet out wide and let the knees fall in towards each other. So this isn't Shavasana, right? But this is more of like a constructive rest position where the low back can really find some ease. So if you need to be here instead of full corpse pose, this is a great option. Like, it's a great backup plan. And it's also nice, like, if you ever find your low back or, you know, anything like in there being kind of tweaky or twingy, it can sometimes just be a little relaxing, restorative. It can just, I don't know, it can just decompress what's going on there a little bit. So you could stay here or you can come to Shavasana. Little bit of rule of thumb I remember when I was doing my teacher training was like, hey, about 5 minutes of Shavasana for every half an hour of yoga practice. I have to admit that that's often not what I do, right? Even if I teach a class that's an hour and 15 minutes long, probably only 5 minutes of that is Shavasana. But I say that to let you know that, like, you truly can spend 10, 15 minutes in Shavasana and it not be too much, you know? So as you move into your final corpse pose, I'm gonna let you take this as long as you want. So when you're ready, lengthen the arm or lengthen the legs out. Maybe lift the chest, tuck the shoulder blades underneath the upper back. Maybe let the arms kind of come slightly away from the sides of the body. And then just let go of your weight, let go of your controlled breath, and allow gravity to hold you here while you sink into stillness. So feel free to stay as long as you would like, but I'm gonna wrap up the live stream so that you really have that freedom to just go as long as you need to in Shavasana. But I'll end here with you by letting you know that the light in me recognizes and honors the light in you wherever you are. Thank you so very much for joining me today and sharing this practice. Namaste. All right. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care.